Anthony,
Wait,
I think it's stuck.
Yes,
What's stuck?
it's a little, there's a little
right, there's
delay.
always a
There is,
delay.
there's a slight lag, okay, so. Ready to go.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Finance Committee of the Albany Water Board. Today is Friday, April 25th, 2025. And the time is 8:34. All board members are present. The minutes were distributed previously, so if there's no changes or comments, I would like to dispense with the reading of the minutes, and I would ask for a motion to approve as distributed.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Public comment period, is there anyone?
No.
Okay, there being none, we'll move on. The post committee report. Chris?
Okay, welcome everybody. This is the report through March 2025. Still very early in the year, so we'll kind of, I think, just focus more on the kind of year-to-date results. And again, revenues, we have 10.5 million worth of revenues through March, and that's an increase of 2.6 million from prior year. As you recall, our Januaries and Februaries were extraordinarily strong at about 4.5 each. So we normalize a little bit this month, but again, collectively, that is a very strong number, and we hope and we think that's going to continue. On the expense side, collectively, $5.1 million spent through March. That's a $512,000 increase from prior year. So that's obviously a positive as well. Your expenses are relatively flat, and the revenue is up 2.6. So that is strong. We're hoping that continues, and we think it certainly will in the short term. So the Route 7s have been strong, and our individual residential routes as well. Next page, the capital spend, we had $736,000 worth of capital expenditures. We call those our 8350 accounts. And 473,000 of that came in as a disbursement this year to help fund the Beaver Tide Gate replacement and flow management project. So a relatively slow month on receipts. Typically there's a few grants in there, but this was the one loan that we expect that to pick up. Our actual versus budget, again, year to date, we're fairly spot on, 83,000 over budget. And on the expenditure side, year to date, we're under budget by about $3 million. So there's a little when we budget versus our actual, we kind of budget straight line. We just take our our 40 million and divide it by 12 and then compare that to the actual results. We really need to refine that, put a little seasonality to that budget to kind of make that match. We're not as good as we think or as bad as we think we are, or as good, with a $3 million difference there. So that's something we're going to work on. But again, we're certainly from month to month, we're fairly spot on, and we're certainly, now that we're into at least myself, a year and 5 months, we're pretty good on our expenses. We know what they're going to be and when they're going to happen, and we should be able to plan accordingly. Again, with moving forward,
We changed that today with Lincoln Park.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, understood. Moving right along, age receivable is 2.5. Within that number, that's actually all of our receivables. Part of that's not aged. Typically, when I distribute this, I try to make this over at least over 30 days. This actually includes the under 30. That's okay. That's money that's owed to us, and it's pretty typical. 1.5 to about $2 million or so per month is usually what that amount is. Balance on the revolving line of credit, again, $2 million. The update on that M&T is doing whatever they call diligence to hopefully at least come up with an answer if we can transfer that line of credit by the end of June. That's when our LLC is up with Bank of America. We were doing it every 6 months. So I requested a $5 million line of credit, 2 million, which would switch over to M&T. We would have, in theory, if they agree to that, $3 million, or at least two. They're going to do, but hopefully $3 million of availability that would hopefully be meant for emergencies only. As we start to, we should be paying down that line of credit. We did again 2 million last year to pay that down, but that's just that interest out the door that kind of that needs to go away. That should be for emergency purposes. That
Chris,
sorry.
Excuse me, just the 2.5 million. I always thought that was large users only, not all receivables.
Sorry, it is. It's Route 7. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
If I misspoke, it's just Route 7.
Okay, thank you.
We could do everybody, but you'll have a packet that's gonna be about 3
Right,
weeks. Yeah,
right.
it's kind of maybe the reason we did just, then 7 incorporates our major money.
Although we could provide just a total of what the number is without all the breakdown, right?
We could do that. It's a good
Yeah,
idea,
Just like
actually.
an age receivables,
Yeah.
total age receivables.
We could do that. That's a good idea. Okay, yeah, so interest paid to date, 156,000 again, a lot of credit, that's $21,000. The remaining is our bond debt of 136 thousand paid to date. The next schedule is just our normal kind of consolidated breakdown of sort of what I just read, so I'm not gonna spend too much time on that. You can see what, again, with the year-to-date numbers, 10 million of money collected on our revenue compared to almost 8 million from the year before. Our investment income is slightly higher from 2024, but pretty much on par, only $16,000 difference. So no major differences there outside of our debt service. Probably some timing issues on with respect to that. The year to date, there was 1.2 at the end of 2024 and only 500,000 in 25. You would expect that to, we're not having less debt. So my guess is something rolled into the next month there, but we can confirm that. Next page is just a summary of again, you guys are familiar with the schedule. Just our overall, our revenue compared to and then the kind of breakdown of the investment income. More so as a breakdown of our additional cash receipts, our miscellaneous income that comes in from our various rents, sales of scrap, things of that nature, other refunds and other types of things that don't fall into our normal operating revenue. And they collected $91,128 worth of that. Next page is the breakdown again. You guys can take a look at it individually, but this is our departmental breakdown of all of our expenses year to date. Comparing actual for 25 to actuals year to date again for 24, and also compares to the 2025 budget and the adjusted budget. So as you can see, we're sort of summarizing at the bottom. We're fairly relatively equal to 2024 with having substantially more revenues. So again, we have to see that every time. Only a $512,000 difference through March of 2025. The budget differences, again, we're straight lining our budget as compared to actual. We're going to work on that to kind of season that budget a little more to kind of match when things happen throughout the year. Just kind of an ancillary look over some of the budgeted items. You'll see we have a decent amount of cushion, which is kind of the way we did it when I got here, but you'll see a decent amount of cushion within our contractual expenses, particularly for water and for sewer. We have some availability there to transfer some money out to some other categories that might need it, and to just make sure that line is an important line. Most of our expenses are done under contract. We need some flexibility there in case things go a different way. So it's good that we have availability there. Next page. This is just the impossibly small summary nobody can read of the accumulation of our CapEx projects. As we can see, it's going back to 1995. We could probably make this a little more current. But $199,000 spent through that period for a relatively low.
199 million.
I'm sorry, million, sorry. Freudian slip there. I was hoping it was
that's a big-
199 million, of course.
And actually, Chris, we show that history to reflect the efforts of the water board in supporting capital investment in the infrastructure system. So it probably doesn't really hurt to show that historical trend.
Sure, fair enough. And then, through this year, through March, again, it's relatively slow. 736,000 of our, what we call our 8350 CapEx accounts, that's the actual spend. That's going out the door. We expect that to ramp up as some other crucial items need to be addressed throughout the later part of the year. But that's where we're at now with that. Next page is our overtime page. We can see that we are given the length of this long winter that we're now out of. There was a bump in overtime, but nothing I think was that is a surprise, and still relatively relatively under control.
And again, I think when you look at total personnel costs, it kind of balances out because we still have we had a lot of open positions. So we're still covering absences with double shifts, et cetera.
Right. Our due from, we are still in the positive at 919,000, so we're there. That is always good. Again, we're still we're meant to set up a meeting, RF and I, with Ken Bennett over at City Hall. First off, he's basically retired. He's really part-time over there, maybe 2 or 3 times a week, just to make sure that we don't lose a handle on that balance. And there's a lot of things flowing through that account, as we've said before. RF and I are on that case. We're just trying to get that meeting, make sure we catch him before he leaves for good. He's been trying to, they won't let him leave. And but obviously good news that through March, that's still in the positive category. And we'll be monitoring that as we go along. The 2.5 AR we talked about, and there's the detailed AR schedule. Bill Conn, you had a comment with respect to penalties, and I think what we want to do, and we probably promised it before now, but we're going to do it, I think, is separate them and show what the benefit of any of these late fees that we've been charging our customers. And just talking with Andrew, we can do it. There's a summary report we can do from Springbrook that allow us to do that. We can see what we've at least build out. Now, obviously, you're gonna have
the small numbers that are in these schedules are,
Yeah.
I assume, are all.
I believe that to be the case, but we're gonna summarize that to make sure it ties to that.
Okay.
I'm 99% sure, but we'll cut that. There's some other Springbrook being what it is. Every so I'd like we've got to vet them a little better, but that's what I believe it to be. So that said, there's a lot of customers that actually willingly don't pay. They want to roll their taxes to their bills to their property taxes. So the people that are going to do that, if they're going to make us work harder for that, I think we should see the benefit of that. I think as Bill certainly has pointed out. So initially, that would be a 5% fee for the first time that they're late, a 1% fee continuing every month after that, and then an additional 5% fee when you roll. So this would be a substantial collectively amongst our base. I think revenue, I'm not saying it's again not a game changer, but a pretty decent amount of money when we actually pull that out and see what it is.
Is that
And
policy documented somewhere?
It's I don't know, it's not in any of our personal policy accounting manuals, if you will. On the bill itself, we do document that if you pay late, this is going to be a 5% fee, and it's actually on the invoice. But as far as a policy, maybe Joe can help me with this a
Should
bit.
it be in the rate schedule?
Right.
Then you
Okay.
would need a
Yeah.
policy.
Yeah,
It should be in the rate schedule. Well, no,
I think it should be. Let me actually just pull it while we're
yeah,
chatting.
it should be in the rate. schedule.
Okay.
If it's not, it should be in the rate.
Yeah.
schedule.
Because I don't know why, but I don't remember the first 5%. I mean, I know the 5% for the rollover.
And that's what we did when I first got here. That's the only fee I ever assessed to our late payers. So,
Right.
but again, we were quasi coming out of COVID, things kind of blew it up there. So I think if we're adopting it correctly, I'm not sure what happened before COVID, but this is what I'm told from Andrea. This is what we're doing now. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
So we've charged everybody, all first timers, have been charged as 5%.
Well,
For 2025 or?
Due for 25.
I don't think you can do, I don't think you can do that.
Okay, hold on, yeah.
I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
that, in other words, because annualized 5% in a month is 5 times, so that's 60%.
Yeah.
If it's 5%, I thought it was 1% every month. And then 5%.
My understanding was 5% for the first month, and then 1% of that balance going forward
So someone who never pays their bill and lets it roll
is gonna
is gonna
be in for a substantial.
Yeah, I don't think you can do that unless it's in the rate schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's gotta be some published thing, people only know what they're doing. It's not
Right.
an approved document.
So,
Our view, as long as we put it on the bill, they're aware of it.
so page 1 of
I
our
think
rate
so.
schedule, a C says a 1% monthly finance charge or 12% annually is currently charged on any unpaid accounts.
There you go.
Those not paid within 30 days of the date billed based on the average monthly balance of the account. And then D says a one-time penalty of 5% is charged to all accounts not paid within 30 days of the initial date of billing. An additional penalty of 5% is charged to all accounts delinquent as of November 15th of each year, and as such, subject to rollover and collection by the city of Albany. So. It's a,
Yeah, that's what I'm
Okay.
trying to say, if I'm not saying it correctly.
No,
yeah.
That said, that wasn't being
and
done.
that's where is that, Phil?
That, oh, but hang on, we should sewer charge this. No, it's right on page 1 of our schedule, proposed rate schedule.
That said, February would be the first time we've done this 5% charge, at least until
So is it
pre-COVID.
the rate schedule that we do, or is there,
That's what I
okay,
just pulled.
I gotta look at that then,
Okay,
because
let me just I'll forward it on to you and,
that paragraph then has been the same since before the war,
yeah,
I'm guessing.
yeah.
Applied liberal again, that's
Right,
give or take.
Chris,
Okay.
looking ahead to our June meeting, can you kind of quantify that? Because we're gonna talk about a rate increase. We're talking about the rates in June.
right.
Yeah,
That's gonna impact.
I think so. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves yet, but it'll be, I think, a pretty good number. It's not gonna overall, I think, change our calculus too much, but it's good to have some cushion with respect to those, what I'll call new revenues, but, Art and I are working on the forecast, sort of as we speak, and this is meant to obviously, get a sense of, what we've kind of done to date and then blow out through the rest of the 6 months of 2025. Well, a realistic, guess of what our revenues are gonna be. Like I said, we're very good on expenses. We know most of our expenses are fixed, amortization of bonds and interest. We know all that, and we've been pretty good with the historical expenses. Payroll, we know that. It's just our operational, what we've been buying, our chemicals, our equipment, things of that nature. And we're vetting those numbers where at least within the next 6 months, we should have a pretty good forecast of that, and then out through the next of 26s, which is where we're gonna get how what are scenarios for rates. It's going to be something. So we typically try to do it, now is it 5, 10, 50, what do we look like under certain scenarios? And what we have to bake into that, obviously, is the rolling 5-year capital plan. Can we do everything that we want to do? And if we do that, what's the rate increase there? If we don't, what do we, what's the high end and kind of what's the low end there? So that's what we're committing to show you for the June meeting. We're working on it, as we speak. So but I don't want to get ahead of ourselves too much on that before we really blow out 2026, because there's a lot of things that can, you know, a lot of variables there, and certainly also things that have been put off to date. We have a lot more charges, for instance, for vehicles that we hadn't purchased a lot over the past couple of years, trying to solidify our cash and prioritize things. And I think the people here have done a great job of working with what they had and extending the lives of a lot of fully depreciated equipment that normally would have been replaced. So I've factored a lot of that in. We're doing a lot of that this year that have affected our cash. And again, but I think this is something we're going to do. This will be the document that we're going to use forever, starting in June. This is where we're going to manage of our actuals to expenses, and then having a great notion of, you know, where we're going to be 6 months from now. Any good CFO, controller, FP&A person should within 6 months know pretty much where they're going to be, and then within a year and a half, they should be pretty darn close. When you start getting it after that, you know,
Yeah.
who knows? So we're committing to that, and I think we're probably about 75% there, and we'll commit to that presentation for June.
Good.
What was that here? Sorry. Oh, okay. So back to back to route. So this is our route 7 analysis here. Again, we broke out. We are drawing water from Bethlehem. So we thought Bethlehem was dead.
Gilderland,
I'm sorry.
Gilderland were drawn, they're drawn. Now they are. Bethlehem was before, I think they stopped.
Oh, okay. So I'm saying collectively, right?
Yeah.
We there was some from Bethlehem and Gilman a little bit.
Yeah.
But yes, so again, strong results on Route 7. Similarly, Polytechnic Institute and OGS, once again, driving that. Central Towers is now in the positive as opposed to the credit that we had from prior years. So, you know, a $4.2 million sales of billing for Route 7 that's very strong. Obviously, compared to prior year, reflects rate increases and I think a more efficient addressing of some of our billing issues and some of our meter issues, and I think that's reflected in that number. Next page, again, that's just our due from. That's that 919,000. That is still positive in our favor with City Hall. Next is the our route analysis, route for route 3 for March. We've come back to earth a little bit on this. You know, route 3 I think is more of our I think kind of downtown sort of perhaps warehouse district. There's different challenges there overall, but it's at least positive. I don't know, Joe, Coffee, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, but that you know, it doesn't, you know, obviously not as strong as the month before or reflect the rate increase, but I think there's some other outside issues there that may be affecting that number. But that said, that is the overall financial outlook for March. Again, I think, you know, it's strong results through the first quarter. Revenue, obviously, expenses I think we've kept a relatively good cap on, but you know, it's the next, you know, it's the next 6 to 9 months that yeah, I think we're going to have to really you know, make sure we're spending in the right place, we're going to have the right priorities, and with the committed forecasting effort for June, we'll have a better assessment of what we think our options are at a minimum for the rest of for 2026 with respect to rates.
Well, hopefully we'll have a good summer this year. That's nice and hot.
I hope so. Yeah.
We'll have swimming pools and all kinds of things where new water needs to be used.
Is the pool open before?
July 4th,
Are they gonna be open? Okay.
but they won't be leaking 500,000 gallons. They're not paying for it anyway.
So that's it.
Thank you, Chris.
I heard a presentation on Monday night about the pool, and it looks like they're on schedule.
Yeah, that'd be great.
They're working overtime, but they're gonna have a soft opening on July 4th, and then hopefully in the next 5 days after that, they'll be able to be at full speed.
Any of the board members, I mean, I'm by there from time to time, but I really don't go in, look at it, I mean, yourself. Pay attention to
About the guys
that.
overseeing it, they should just
Yeah.
Lincoln Park.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Again, thank you, Chris. If there you don't have any questions of Chris? All right, thank you. Then we'll move on. There's no new business. Is there any reason to, there doesn't seem like there's a reason to enter into executive session. And so at this time, the next meeting is scheduled for Friday, July 25th, 8:30 a.m. If there's no more business to be brought before this committee, would ask for a motion to adjourn at 8:59.
Good.
Yeah. Okay, all in favor?
Bye.
All right, thank you, guys.